Today we are diving deep into the plot of The Trunk, a new psychological thriller on Netflix that's been making waves. This series is packed with dark secrets, complex characters, and a mystery that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Let's break it all down. The story centers around Chung-won, a wealthy, successful music producer. Chung-won seems to have everything: money, fame, and a beautiful mansion. But underneath all that success, he's haunted by a dark past. His perfect life starts unraveling due to a huge mistake that led to the downfall of his marriage. Chung-won was married to Si-yeon, but now they are divorced. Chung-won believes that he was at fault for their broken marriage, but the truth is far more complicated. One day, Chung-won's ex-wife, Si-yeon, comes up with an unusual punishment for him. She proposed a contract marriage for 1 year, as a way for him to atone for the unspeakable wrong he did to her. This might sound crazy, but Chung-won has little choice but to accept it. He's stuck in a miserable place in his life and agrees to the arrangement, even though it's going to force him to relive painful memories and face a lot of emotional turmoil. Here enters new Inji. Inji is professional wife for hire, which is exactly what Chung-won needs. She's been married multiple times before, and her job is to play the perfect wife in a situation like this one. Despite the situation being extremely awkward, she moves into Chung-won's mansion to fulfill the contract. She's a calm, stoic person who hides her emotion well, and that's exactly what she needs to survive in this tense and dark environment. At first, Chung-won is hostile and uncooperative. He doesn't want to be there, and he certainly doesn't want to let someone into his painful world. But slowly, over time, Chung-won starts seeing Inji in a different light. She isn't just a replacement for his ex-wife, as he initially saw her. As Inji's kindness and strength start breaking through, Chung-won begins to feel something more for her. As we dive deeper into the story, we'll learn about the dark secrets haunting Chung-won. There are mysterious things happening in this mansion. It's clear that something about his past is connected to those ghosts. Chung-won is dealing with more than just the pain of his failed marriage. He's battling the emotional scars of something far worse. His relationship with Seon isn't just about a failed marriage. There's a hidden traumas and deeply buried feelings that Chung-won hasn't been able to process. This is a man who's emotionally broken, and it shows in every scene. While Chung-won begins to find some emotional healing with Inji, his ex-wife, Seon is not happy about it. She has a twisted sense of justice and wants revenge on Chung-won for the wrong he's done for her. She wants to punish him, not let him find happiness with another woman. As the series progresses, Seon starts losing control over Chung-won's life. His emotional attachment to Inji grows, and that threatens her plan. So Seon hatches a heinous scheme to destroy Chung-won's budding relationship with Inji. This leads to a series of events that get darker and more twisted, showing just how far Seon will go to get what she wants. But there's something even more sinister happening. In the future, a trunk is discovered in a frozen lake, and nearby, a dead body is found. The trunk is mysterious, and it becomes a key element in connecting the fates of several characters in the story. This is where the show's complexity really starts to unfold. The trunk holds limited edition items that are deeply intertwined with the lives of Chung-won, Si-yeon, and Inji. These items are not just objects, they symbolize the characters' past, their guilt, and their secrets. The trunk becomes a metaphor for everything they are hiding from one another and from themselves. As the show progresses, we realize the trunk is not just a random object, it's a catalyst that pushes everyone to face their worst fears and their darkest secrets. The discovery of the trunk brings everything full circle. So, no good story is complete without a villain or two. And in the trunk, there are definitely some characters who you will love to hate. Si-yeon, Chung-won's ex-wife, is the primary antagonist. She's manipulative, controlling, and driven by her need for vengeance. However, as the story progresses, we see that there's more to her than just hatred. She's a broken woman in her own right, struggling with her own demons. Another antagonist is Tai-song, who also plays a key role in the story. He's just as dangerous as Si-yeon, willing to do anything to get what he wants. These two characters will push Chung-won and Inji to their breaking points. By the time we reach the end of the trunk, things have gotten incredibly tense. Character lives are completely intertwined, and the mystery surrounding the trunk is finally solved. Tai Seong, a violent figure from Inji's past, reappeared like a ghost. Years ago, he had been a self-defense instructor at NM, an elite military training center. Known for his erratic behavior and violent tendencies, he had been stalking her relentlessly after their brief encounter, and though she had managed to escape his clutches, the scars from his obsession lingered. Tai Seong's return was not a coincidence. Released from a mental institution, he had become fixated on the idea The Inji was his no matter the cost. He began to stalk her once again, following her every move, sending her cryptic messages and making threats. But it wasn't just Inji's life he sought to destroy. Tai Seong knew about the business deal she had with Jong-won, and in his twisted mind, the way to get her back was to ruin everything she held dear. He made his intention clear. He would expose Inji's temporary marriage to Jong-won, shattering the fragile trust they had built. The trunk that Jong-won had kept hidden away from everyone contained more than just personal belongings. It held documents that could ruin both their lives. It was a key to their destruction, a symbol of the darkness they had to confront. As Tai Song's harassment escalated, Jong-won found themselves trapped in a dangerous game of cat and mouse. The trunk became a focal point of their unraveling lives. The secrets it contained could ruin them both. Inji, desperate to protect Jeong-won from Tai Seong's wrath, confronted him near a lake one evening. The encounter escalated quickly, with words turning into violence. In a moment of panic, Inji fired a shot at Tai Seong, but it missed. The bullet, however, created a moment of chaos that allowed Tai Seong to flee. Before he disappeared, he took the trunk with him. The police investigated into Tai Seong's disappearance took a dramatic turn. His body was later found floating in a lake. But it wasn't Inji or Ji Yong-won who had killed him. The truth came to light. Ji-yo, Si-yeon's temporary husband and a skilled fencer, had tracked down Tai Seong and taken matters into his own hands. Ji-yo had witnessed Tai Seong's violent actions in the past and made the decision to end his reign of terror. In the end, it was Ji-yo's intervention that saved them both. Though Tai Seong's death was officially ruled as self-defense, the emotional toll on Inji and Jong-won remained. The sense of relief was quickly overshadowed by the trauma they had both endured. But while Tai Seong's death was wrapped up neatly in the eyes of the law, the emotional scars it left on Inji and Ji-young-won remained. Inji realized that despite their growing affection for each other, she was not ready to open her heart fully to Ji-young-won. She distanced herself, unsure of her own feeling and fearful of the consequences of the entanglement. Jung-won, on the other hand, had his own demons to confront. His ex-wife, Si-yeon, was not done with him. She had spent years torturing him emotionally, even going so far as to install cameras in the house to spy on him and Inji. Her jealousy and manipulative behavior had driven a wedge between them, but the more Jeong-won learned about his troubled past and his upbringing, the more he realized how deep the emotional scars went. He hated the house he lived in, the house that reminded him of the painful childhood and a mother's suicide. With Inji's help, he finally knocked down the walls that had once confined him, both literally and metaphorically. As the two of them faced their past, they came to crossroads. Inji decided to take a step back and live her own life. She retired from her job, spent her days in solitude, and focused on healing. She let go of the need to seek validation from anyone, especially former fiancé Do-ha, who had reappeared after 5 years of silence. Inji had always held out hope that he would return, but when he did, it was not with an apology or explanation she had longed for. Instead, Do-ha admitted that he had been running from his own guilt and shame. Their reunion, though painful, helped Inji let go of a part of her past that had held her captive for so long. Meanwhile, Chung-won was also on his own journey of healing. He lived quietly with his two cats, learning to cook, and finding solace in small, everyday moments. The distance between him and Inji allowed them both to heal and reflect on their lives. Neither of them was ready to rush back into a relationship, but they held on to the hope that if fate intervened, they would meet again. And this time, they would be ready. In the final moments of the trunk, before Inji moved out of Jeong-won's mansion, they shared a quiet, symbolic moment. Together, they knocked down the walls that had held them captive in the past. They left behind the painful memories and began to look towards the future, unsure of what it would bring, but hopeful. If their paths crossed again, they would be stronger, more whole, and perhaps ready to love. But for now, Inji and Jeong-won walked their separate ways, both searching for redemption, peace, and the possibility of love one day if the universe allowed it.